You can't park here.
It's my building, that's my space.
Nice try. I know the owner, he's not you.
Ma'am, you might want to move. Security's on the way.
Nathaniel Brooks had no idea that by 3:17 p.m., his dignity would be on trial in front of strangers because of a parking spot he owned. If you had told him that morning, "Hey Nathaniel, today you are going to be accused of trespassing on your own property," he would have laughed, maybe even offered you coffee for the creativity. But that is the thing about moments that change you, they never knock first. The day had started like any other: black coffee, morning playlist, a kiss on the forehead from his daughter as she left for school. "Daddy, do not forget my recital," she had called out, twirling in her little socks. He smiled, promised he would not. Nathaniel was not dressed to impress that day, just a navy polo, beige slacks, and his worn-in Nikes, no watch, no flashy briefcase. He liked it that way, simple, direct, the kind of guy who let his work speak before his title did. At 41, Nathaniel had built an empire of glass, steel, and second chances. His company, Brooks Equity Group, was not just about real estate. It was about reclaiming spaces, turning abandoned blocks into business districts, broken lots into opportunity. The downtown building he was pulling into, his flagship, 15 floors, clean lines, tenants from tech startups to non-profits, all of it his. He was not there for drama, just a 5-minute check-in on the new lobby paneling, then home in time for ballet slippers and dinner with his wife. But the universe had other plans, and her name was Pamela Ellison. She came out of nowhere, white Lululemon outfit, tote bag dangling from one shoulder like a badge of superiority. She saw him turning into the reserved owner spot and, like a heat-seeking missile of assumption, marched right into his path. And Nathaniel, a man who had survived war zones, boardrooms, and city zoning commissions, was about to find himself in the middle of the most ridiculous battle of his life. Or because someone decided he did not look like the man who could own a skyscraper. The Tesla came to a soft halt, just inches away from her knees. Pamela Ellison did not flinch. She stood there like a gatekeeper, hands planted firmly on her hips, her designer sunglasses reflecting the sleek hood of a car she had already decided did not belong to the man behind the wheel. Nathaniel leaned out of the window, calm but assertive. "Excuse me, ma'am, that is my reserved spot." She did not move, did not even blink. "This is private property," she said flatly. "You cannot park here." Nathaniel held up the building's owner key. "That is exactly why I can. Now if you will kindly," she cut him off. "Do not play games with me. I know the man who owns this building. You are not him." Nathaniel exhaled slowly, gripping the steering wheel tighter. "Ma'am, I am him," she scoffed. Literally scoffed. Right behind them, the sound of tires squeaking against concrete echoed. Another car pulling in, slowing at the sight of the impasse. A man inside lowered his window, watching curiously. Then a phone came up. He was filming. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. He did not want a scene. Not here, not today. But the scene was forming on its own. "I am going to have to ask you to step aside," he said, softer now, but firm. "I have business upstairs." "And I have eyes," Pamela replied, arms crossed now. "You do not belong here." That was the first time the crowd visibly shifted. A few murmurs floated from behind parked cars. Words like, "What the hell?" And she did not just say that, did she? Nathaniel put the car in park, got out, slowly, calmly. The moment his feet hit the ground, Pamela took a step back, not out of fear, but performative caution, like she was preparing herself to become the victim. "Sir, please do not come any closer," she said loudly. "I do not feel safe." Nathaniel froze. That was the line. The line every black man in America knows. She had said the thing that could get him killed. And right on cue, a new voice rang out. "Is there a problem here?" Security off-duty detail. Officer Trent Mallory, in full tactical gear, despite being stationed at what was essentially a glorified valet booth. Pamela's tone shifted instantly from confrontational to concerned. "Yes, officer. This man is trying to force his way into a private parking space. He is aggressive. He claimed he owns the building." Nathaniel turned to face Mallory, shoulders square, voice calm. "That is because I do." Trent stepped forward, hand resting on his belt, not his gun, but not far from it either. "Can I see some identification, sir?" Nathaniel handed over the keycard and his license. The card clearly said Owner Access Brooks Equity Group, but Trent barely glanced at it. "She says she knows the owner." Nathaniel looked him dead in the eye. "She does not," Pamela piped in, louder now, for the audience of onlookers and phones. "I have met him before. Older gentleman, wears suits. Very professional. Not this," the implied "not," you did not need to be spoken aloud. Trent returned the identification. Sir, we are going to need you to leave until this is sorted. No, Nathaniel said. That one word, quiet, defiant, echoed like a challenge. I built this building. My name is on every contract, every permit, every key fob in this place runs through me. I am not going anywhere. Pamela's voice rose with false panic. He is threatening me now. Oh my God, he is threatening me. A few people gasped. One woman turned her phone toward Pamela, capturing every overacted blink and quiver. And then the sound Nathaniel had feared the most. Police sirens. 2 squad cars rolled into the garage. Lights flashing. Out stepped Officer Rachel Klein, tall, pale, ponytail tucked tight beneath her cap. She scanned the scene and went straight to Pamela, who immediately launched into hysterics. He followed me and he tried to force his way into the owner's space. I think he was trying to intimidate me. Nathaniel stood tall, still silent. Rachel turned to him. Sir, I am going to need you to put your hands where I can see them. He complied. Now, what exactly are you doing here? I own the building, he said, slowly. Do you have proof? Ask security to check the directory inside. My name is We will ask the questions. She interrupted. Right now, you are being detained for investigation. Do you have any weapons on you? Nathaniel's voice dropped. No. I am a former United States Army captain. I do not carry. She moved forward. Turn around. Hands on the hood. Phones kept filming. One bystander whispered, Are you serious right now? Another said, Check the directory. His name is right there. But Officer Klein was not listening. Handcuffs clicked tight around Nathaniel's wrists. He looked up, not at the officers, not at Pamela, but at the growing crowd. The cameras, the witnesses, the truth, because he knew what was coming next. He was not alone anymore, and somewhere, in one of those phones, justice had already started recording. The cold metal of the handcuffs bit into Nathaniel's wrists as he leaned against the Tesla, face to the hood, eyes closed. He was not angry, not yet. He was calculating. Every second ticked by like a dropped pin in a quiet room. Pamela paced nearby, narrating loudly for the cameras like she was starring in a reality show. I do not feel safe. You all saw how he jumped out at me. The officers were conferring a few feet away. Officer Klein was on the radio. Officer Mallory stood guard, watching Nathaniel like he was waiting for a sudden move. And then, a voice cut through the tension like a sharp wind. Wait, is that Mr. Brooks? Everyone turned. A woman in a gray blazer and identification badge came jogging from the building entrance. Her heels clicked against the concrete with urgency. Her name was Maria Chen, the project architect for the building, and someone who had spent the last 8 months working side by side with Nathaniel. She looked at the cuffs, then at Pamela, then at Officer Klein. What the hell is going on here? She demanded. Ma'am, do you know this man? Klein asked. Maria blinked. Do I? He owns the entire building. His name is on the deed, the elevator plaques, the mailroom, the permits, everything. Pamela's face lost a shade of color. Wait, what? Mr. Nathaniel Brooks, Maria continued, stepping beside him. Founder and CEO of Brooks Equity Group. You're arresting the owner of this structure for trying to park in his own space. Officer Klein's jaw clenched. We were responding to a complaint, a false one. Maria shot back. And maybe if you'd scanned his ID instead of assuming the worst, we wouldn't be standing here right now. Phones zoomed in. A TikTok livestream picked up Maria's words loud and clear. Pamela stumbled over her next sentence. I've seen someone else here before. He wasn't, I thought. Maria turned, her voice sharp. You thought he didn't look like an owner? Just say it. The crowd murmured louder now. One bystander, a delivery driver, pointed to the glass wall inside the lobby. His name's literally engraved on that wall right there. 2 people broke from the crowd to check. Moments later, they returned. Yeah, it says Nathaniel Brooks, founder, 2021, right under the building directory. The silence hit harder than the sirens ever did. Officer Mallory spoke softly now. I'll take the cuffs off. Nathaniel turned slowly, eyes on Pamela. She avoided his gaze. Officer Klein looked shaken, not from fear, from the weight of realization. Still, Nathaniel said nothing. He didn't need to, because the videos were still rolling, and this time, they weren't capturing a confrontation. They were capturing the turning point. A man wrongly accused, a lie unraveling in reality, and the beginning of consequences for everyone involved. The handcuffs snapped open with an awkward clink. Nathaniel didn't move right away. His wrists bore red impressions, a quiet reminder of what dignity costs when the world sees your skin before your story. Officer Mallory stepped back like he wished he could vanish into the concrete. Officer Klein stared at the ground, her radio still hissing softly, but she didn't speak into it. Pamela, she stood like someone watching her world tilt sideways. Her confidence evaporated. Her voice, the one that had filled the garage with accusation just minutes earlier, was now barely a whisper. Nathaniel finally turned to face her. She tried to speak. I didn't know. He cut her off with silence. Not with a shout. Not with an insult. Just silence. And somehow that hit harder than anything else ever could. Across the garage, the lobby doors slid open. The building manager, a stocky man in his 60s named George Reyes, emerged holding a folder. I pulled the ownership documents, George announced to the officers. They're in his name. Full legal ownership since 2021. It's all here. Deed, registration, permits. He handed the file to Officer Klein, who took it like it weighed 100 pounds. Maria folded her arms. You want to call the police again, Pamela? Maybe on me this time. Pamela opened her mouth, closed it, then finally said, This is a misunderstanding. I was just trying to help. George scoffed. You were trying to help by calling the cops on a man parking in his own space. One of the bystanders shouted. No, she was trying to play security guard of the month. Laughter erupted from a few corners of the crowd. Another voice added, More like Karen of the year. Pamela's eyes darted around. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean any harm. You meant every kind of harm, Maria said sharply. You assumed, you accused, and you escalated because it made you feel powerful. Officer Klein's radio buzzed again. She stepped away to respond, murmuring back to dispatch. When she returned, her expression had changed. Mr. Brooks, we sincerely apologize. This was a misjudgment on our part. We didn't know. Nathaniel looked at her for a long moment. I tried to tell you, he said. You just didn't want to hear it. Klein nodded once. Her cheeks were pale. More phones were out now. Word was spreading. Outside the garage, a local news van had pulled up. The footage had gone viral already. Hashtag Brooks Building was trending on Twitter. One post read, Man cuffed in his own parking spot. The twist, he owns the building. Hashtag Parking While Black. And another, Karen said he didn't look like the owner. Turns out he signs her employer's lease. Pamela turned, her voice shaking. Please, don't ruin my life over this. Nathaniel didn't respond, but Maria did. You should have thought about that before you tried to ruin his. Crowd parted as Nathaniel walked toward the building entrance, head high, shoulders squared. He tapped his keycard on the reader. The doors slid open automatically. He didn't look back. He didn't have to, because now everyone knew who he was, and they'd never forget it. The next morning, Nathaniel Brooks didn't wake up to his usual 6 a.m. alarm. He woke up to chaos. His phone was vibrating off the nightstand. Missed calls, unread messages, emails stacked like bricks. His wife, Camille, looked over. What's going on? She asked, rubbing her eyes. Nathaniel checked the screen. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, local news, national news, everywhere. Black building owner detained in his own garage by woman claiming he didn't look the part. Hashtag Parking While Black. Hashtag Brooks Building. Hashtag Nathaniel Brooks. His inbox had messages from journalists, civil rights attorneys, corporate leaders, old college classmates, even a late-night email from a senator's office asking for a comment. The video, the one from the garage, had hit 9.6 million views overnight. It was clipped, edited, subtitled, and shared across platforms. People weren't just watching, they were raging. Pamela Ellison's face was everywhere too. Internet sleuths had identified her within hours. Her LinkedIn, Instagram, and employer were posted and then deleted. She issued a short, tearful apology video on a bathroom floor, mascara running, voice trembling. I'm not racist. I just thought I made a mistake. Please stop threatening my family. But the damage was done. Pamela was fired by her law firm before lunchtime. The firm released a statement. We do not tolerate behavior that reflects poorly on our values. Ms. Ellison is no longer affiliated with our office. Meanwhile, Officer Rachel Klein was placed on administrative leave. A formal complaint had been filed by Nathaniel's attorneys, supported by more than 30 witness testimonies and video footage. Within a week, an internal affairs investigation was opened. Officer Trent Mallory, the off-duty security hire, resigned quietly. No press release, no goodbye cake. But Nathaniel, he didn't disappear. Instead, he stepped forward. At a press conference held on the rooftop of the very building he was nearly arrested in, he stood at a clear podium in front of a wall of news cameras. Wearing a navy suit and a quiet steel in his voice, he spoke without notes. This incident was not unique. That's why you're angry. That's why people are watching. Because deep down we all know this wasn't just about me. It was about how easy it is to believe that someone like me doesn't belong, even when we do. especially when we do." He paused, scanning the crowd. "I served this country. I built this business. I create jobs in this city. And yet, I was treated like a trespasser on my own property because I didn't fit someone's expectations of power. But I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for reform." From that day forward, Brooks Equity Group funded and launched a non-profit called Spaces of Respect. Its mission, to provide legal aid, education, and media support for people who experience racial profiling in professional environments. From office buildings to boardrooms to classrooms, local and national donors rushed to support it. He also began working directly with city leadership to reform off-duty police hiring for private properties, pushing for training standards, mandatory de-escalation, certification, and most importantly, accountability protocols. The City Council passed a proposal nicknamed the Brooks Amendment, requiring any property-related detainment to include ID verification before escalation. It passed 11-1. The building itself changed to, where the brushed metal lobby sign used to simply say, Brooks Tower, it now read, Brooks Tower, owned and operated by Nathaniel Brooks. Honor, equity, accountability, and under the owner plaque in the parking garage, a new engraved message was added. If you don't know who belongs here, ask, don't assume. Public support only grew. People showed up with posters that read, "We see you, Mr. Brooks. Excellence can't be profiled. Black ownership matters." But for Nathaniel, the most powerful moment came quietly. A week after the incident, he attended his daughter's ballet recital, front row, still wearing his suit from a business meeting earlier that day. When she came out in a pink tutu spinning like the world couldn't touch her, she looked at him and grinned. After the show, she ran into his arms. "Did you like it, Daddy?" He kissed the top of her head. "I loved it," he whispered. And in that moment, after everything he knew, he hadn't just reclaimed his parking spot. He had reclaimed something much more powerful, his right to exist, lead, and belong without apology. There's a strange kind of power in silence, in choosing not to scream when the world hands you a reason. Nathaniel Brooks didn't yell, he didn't curse, he didn't push back when they shoved him against his own car. Instead, he stood firm, not just for himself, but for every man who's ever been told he doesn't look like he belongs, for every father who's been told to prove he's safe, for every builder who's been treated like an intruder in the house he built. What Pamela Ellison, Officer Klein, and so many others underestimated was not Nathaniel's patience. It was his proof, his presence, his power, because sometimes, the strongest kind of justice isn't revenge. It's being seen, fully and without apology. It's showing the world that you were right all along, and that truth, that's something no one can handcuff. So the next time someone says, "You don't look like the owner," remember Nathaniel Brooks, because he is the reminder that ownership has no look, only substance, and dignity. It wears many faces. Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever witnessed someone being unfairly profiled or judged? Do you think Pamela and the officers got what they deserved? Where are you watching from? Drop your thoughts in the comments, your voice matters. And if this story moved you, even just a little, hit that subscribe button, because stories like this deserve to be told, again and again, until they're no longer needed.